Hey y'all, and welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a while since I've done any book related content on this channel, but this has been a rough year. We've been really busy. Of course, we took our 2-week cruise for the inaugural sailing of Star of the Seas last month. So actually we started at the end of August and then it went into September, but we will be getting some of that content up eventually. Just don't know when. Some of it's already on my regular TikTok, not my book talk one. But today we are going to talk about my October TBR. And actually, I'm really going to try my best to finish most, if not all, of my TBR because it's spooky season. And all the books that I've picked for the theme is all gonna be horror books. And these are ones that I've had on my shelf for a while and I'm like, I need to read these. And now, well, I have an excuse to read them and to just go all in on the horror stuff for the month. First up, we have the classic. It is Fall of the House of Usher by Edgar Allan Poe, because right now there's a big celebration here in Richmond about Poe. We have the Poe Museum. Of course, this is where Poe was from. So I'm like, you know what? It's spooky season. We have the celebration of him going on right now. Why not read one of his things? I've actually never read Fall of the House of Usher. I remember growing up reading The Raven, the Telltale Heart, The Purloined Letter, those sort of stories, but I never read this one. And I figure, okay, perfect time, Poe celebration, Halloween, go for it. So I'm pretty sure most of y'all know what Fall of the House of Usher is, but if you don't, I'm gonna explain it to you from the back of the book, of course. So anyways, it describes the final hours of a family tormented by tragedy and the legacy of the past. So that is essentially brief summary of that. It's very much, I love Poe because a lot of his stuff is very much gothic. It's so gothic. You imagine, especially with Fall of the House of Usher, you imagine this giant estate, this grand estate in the middle of nowhere. And which to me, that kind of setting is perfect for a horror novel or a horror movie. So that one's going to be the first one I do. And it's not that long. Like most of his stories aren't really that long. That's why this is not the whole book. This is multiple stories right here in this book. There's Telltale Heart, Pit in the Pendulum, and the Cask of Amontillado. So yeah, pretty thick book because it's got multiple stories in it. So that one's going to be first. Next, which is, this one's probably one of the shortest, going again with the gothic theme, The Woman in Black by Susan Hill. So The Woman in Black, if you've seen the movies, the old one or the new one, doesn't really matter. It's about this young lawyer who is called to handle the estate of an old woman who died. And while there, he starts discovering all these mysteries of what was happening in that house, why people in that town seem to be very upset with him being at that house. Very spooky vibes. And I remember when I saw the remake with Daniel Radcliffe, first of all, it was one of my first things I watched of him that was non-Harry Potter related. I'm like, oh my God, he's getting so grown, you know? And the movies creeped the heck out of me. I want to say I was by myself and I was watching it at home, and perfect setting. Just like when I was talking about Fall of the House of Usher, I imagine this particular house when you think of stories like Fall of the House of Usher. So that one's going to be next up. It's fairly short, so I think that once I finish Fall of the House of Usher, I'm gonna go straight into this one, or maybe I'll give Gothic Horror a little bit of a break. I don't know. No particular order. Next up, and this one I've actually been looking forward to because we've been talking about it at work because, you know, we were talking about the Bram Stoker Awards for horror writing. And I was saying, okay, I actually have this book. I've been wanting to read it. And that book is Ararat by Christopher Golden. So what the story is that there's an earthquake that happens in Turkey in the mountains, and it uncovers what people think is Noah's Ark. And so a team of researchers go in there like, okay, we're going to check this out. And as always, with these types of stories, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're surrounded by mountains and snow. Pretty much like there's hardly any way for you to reasonably easily escape. and there's a demonic presence, and they've got to find their way out with their lives and souls intact, that kind of thing. So I love stories that take place in like in the mountains or in like snow covered, kind of like The Thing. I love stories like The Thing. Dan Brown wrote a book called Deception Point, where a big part of it takes place on an ice shelf. And people are like, oh my gosh, we're being hunted down and we've got nowhere to run. And that part of the book is my favorite part of the book, because you feel the isolation, you feel that it's not just the enemy that's chasing you. You also have the danger of the environment around you. So I think that this one's going to really be, actually the cover is what sold me originally. And then from there, just reading the back, and I was like, oh, definitely sold. So actually maybe I will read that after Fall of the House of Usher. I'm not really sure. We'll see. Because I have a feeling that if it's really good, I'll probably fly right through it. Next, we have Legion by William Peter Blatty. Yes, that same person who wrote The Exorcist. And I'm going to go ahead and just read you the synopsis in the back of the book, because I've never read it, obviously. A young boy is found horribly murdered in a mock crucifixion. Is the murderer the elderly woman who witnessed the crime? A neurologist who can no longer bear the pain life inflicts on its victims? A psychiatrist with a macabre sense of humor and a guilty secret? A mysterious mental patient locked in silent isolation? Lieutenant Kinderman follows a bewildering trail that links all these people, confronting new enigmas at every turn, even as more murders occur. Why does each victim suffer the same dreadful mutilations? Why are two priests among the dead? And it just goes from there. I think you get the general idea. So what it kind of reminds me of is, I feel like it kind of, in a way, sort of reminds me of the Exorcist 3 movie. Sort of. But I don't know. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. I can't remember if this was ever made into a movie. I don't think it was. But I'm looking forward to this one, of course. And I think what I'm going to do, because I have a whole bunch of Audible credits, I think what I'm going to do for these is that I'm going to download the audiobook version so that I can listen along and read along as I'm weird like that, because there's going to be times when I'm driving to work and I want to listen to the book or read the book, but I can't, because I don't have a Tesla. I can't read and drive at the same time. So I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to download the audiobook so that I can listen to the books when I'm not able to physically read the book, and just try to make sure I stay like up to date of what chapter I'm on and everything. Actually, that was going to be really, really fun. That's going to be, especially like on the nights that I'm driving home from work and it's really dark and I'm driving through the country. Oh shit. Yes. Excuse my language. All right. So next, because I really wanted to do a book by a woman of color, I need y'all to give me some recommendations, by the way, of Black women who are horror writers who have good books. I need recommendations. I don't know anything about that. I know the classic ones. I know the classic horror writers, Stephen King and the rest of them, but I want to read books by my girls. This is one I found, and it's called Listen to Your Sister by Nina Viel. And basically it's 25-year-old 25-year-old Calla Williams is struggling since becoming guardian to her brother Jamie. Calla's overwhelmed and tired of being the one who makes sacrifices to keep the family together. Jamie, full of good-natured 16-year-old recklessness, is usually off fighting for what matters to him and getting into mischief, often at the same time. Dre, their brother, promised he would help raise Jamie, but now that ink is dry on the paperwork. In classic middle child fashion, he's off doing his own thing. And through it all, the nightmare never stops haunting Calla. Reoccurring images of her brothers dying that she is powerless to stop. When Jamie's actions at a protest spiral out of control, the siblings must go on the run, taking refuge in a remote cabin that looks like it belongs on a slasher movie poster rather than an Airbnb. The siblings now face a new threat in their lives, and reality hangs in the balance. Calla always warned her brothers about her nightmares. They really should have listened. And it's what's interesting with this book. I bought it when it first came out, right? And then I forgot that I owned it. Because I then turned around. Where is it? It's on the shelf somewhere. Yep, right here. It's over here. I then turned around and bought another copy. Got home and went to add it to my TBR spreadsheet that I have, and was like, oh, I already own this. So I think what I'm gonna do is give this copy to a friend who I think that she wanted to read this. So I can't keep both. There's no reason for me to keep both. So I think I'm gonna give it to a friend. And again, download the audiobook with my Audible credits, and so I can listen along as I read along. And finally, we have Last Days by Adam Neville, and this one is this a thick boy right here. I think that this is probably the one I'm going to work on last, simply because I don't think I'll be able to finish it and everything else, and I don't want this thing right here, this one book, to hold me up from the other ones I have on my TBR. But basically, this is about when a guerrilla documentary filmmaker, Kyle Freeman, is asked to shoot a film on the notorious cult known as the Temple of the Last Days. It appears his prayers have been answered. The cult became a worldwide phenomenon in 1975 when there was a massacre, including the death of its infamous leader, Sister Catherine. Kyle's brief is to explore the paranormal myths surrounding an organization that became a testament to paranoia, murderous rage, and occult rituals. The shoot's locations take him to the cult's first temple in London, an abandoned farm in France, and a derelict copper mine in the Arizonan desert where the Temple of the Last Days met its bloody end. But when he interviews those involved in the case, those who haven't broken silence in decades, a series of uncanny events plague the shoots. Troubling out-of-body experiences, nocturnal visitations, the sudden demise of their interviewees, and the discovery of ghastly artifacts make Kyle question what exactly is it that cult has awoken, as well as its interest in him. Obviously, the backstory of this cult, fictional cult in this book, is clearly based off of Jonestown and Jim Jones. But this is a supernatural take on it, clearly. I've seen several horror films over the years that they always tackle the issue of Jonestown, but in a different way. So it's like, it always ends the same. But with this, because we already kind of start in the middle of the story, the cult it's over. Like we were past the unaliving of everyone and their leader, and the leader this time is a woman, obviously. And now we're, in the future, like, okay, supernatural things are going on. What's the story about this cult? Blah, blah, blah. So I think this one, it's going to be an interesting read, but the only issue I have is that when I see a book with that simple of a premise that is this thick, I question, is it going to be over bloated? Is there going to be a lot of extra plot that we didn't really need in the book? So like I said, I think I'm going to finish all the other ones first, and then this will be my last one, because getting through this versus getting through this, and especially this, it won't be hard. I think that this will be much more difficult, and then I'll end up not having read much for the month. So yeah, but that is all for today. Wish me luck, because I was going to try to finish one of these books today. And I was at work and I got so busy doing stuff, preparing for my class that I'm teaching tomorrow, my program I'm teaching, and also finishing up some last minute tasks that I had at work that I had forgotten about for last month. Oops, like I had some reports to do and I was like, oops. So I had to do all of that. And I didn't really have a chance to work on any of this TBR. So we'll see if I can do it. I don't have a whole lot going on this. No, actually I do have a lot going on this month. Shit. Oh, shoot. I just thought about that. Like, it's our wedding anniversary next week. And then the next weekend, full weekend that I'm off after that, we're going to his cousin's wedding, 4.5 hours away. Darn gone it. Shoot. I'm going to be, this is going to be very interesting if I can read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. And these are not, some of these are not very tiny books. So, hoocha. Okay, we'll see what can happen. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment below of what your favorite horror book is, who your favorite horror writers are, and most importantly, if any of y'all know of any Black female horror writers, drop them below, because I need to compile a list. I need to expand my collection, even though I've run out of space. So, yes, I'm looking around my living room, and I'm trying to figure out, like, where can I put more books? I need to get another bookshelf, but where can I put it? Reasonably, where can I put it? This is going to be difficult. Anyways, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.